Excellent. Now that we have this function taking in a parameter, which is the number of hashtags, we need to actually use that parameter. So if I want to print out 5 hashtags here, or if I want to print out a number of hashtags based on the parameter I put in, I have to utilize it. And so to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define a variable that will hold the result of the function. Let result equal an empty string. This empty string is going to store all of the hashtags and spaces we want to put inside the string. And then to make this function work, we're going to return the result at the end. This is defining a variable. This is defining our variable that holds the result. And this is returning the result. An empty string. So first we say the result variable is equal to an empty string. And then at the very end of the function, we return the result variable. That means that whatever we create inside this function, we're going to return it at the end, so that when we call this function, the result of our result will be stored inside this variable. Or we could say var row, or let row, equals calling the function which returns the result of whatever happens inside this function. And then at the very end, we can console.log the row. So this is a crash course on everything that functions do in JavaScript. This crash course on functions teaches you pretty much all of the essential things that functions need to be able to do. They take in an input, which is the parameter here, which is the number of hashtags, and they're going to return a result. To do that, to add hashtags to this result, we're going to use a for loop. A for loop looks like this. They're a little funky at first, but then when you get used to them, they're not as bad as you think. For loops work like this. You say for, followed by open and closing parentheses, and then open and closing squigglies, like this. And a loop, which was also gone over in the algorithms video, it runs a certain number of times. So what we want this loop to do is we want to loop over the number of hashtags. So for every hashtag, for however many hashtags there are, we want to loop that number of times and add a hashtag to the result for each loop. For each loop cycle. So to do that, we need to create a variable that starts the loop. We'll say let counter equals, I'm just going to say let count equals 0. And then we use a semicolon to stop. And then we'll say as long as count is less than the number of hashtags we need to print, count plus plus, which means add 1 to count. And this is how all for loops work. They have an expression that starts the variable, that starts the counter variable, which is going to be 0. And then we have an expression that says as long as, it's the condition, as long as the counter variable is less than the number of hashtags, you need to add 1 to the counter variable each time the loop cycle runs. Now for each loop cycle, we're going to add a hashtag to the results variable like so. We say result plus equals a hashtag. And so we want this loop to run the number of times, however many hashtags we're supposed to put in there, that's how long we want the loop to run. And so it's going to add a hashtag to it for each number. And then we will actually run the code. So take this right here. This is the whole function. Make sure you copy that down really quickly. And if you run it, by the way, how many hashtags should you get? Well, right now we haven't told it how many number of hashtags to have. We have to pass in that number to the function right here. So how many do we want for the bottom row? 5. Type in 5, save it, run it, see what you get. You get 5. Try 4. Type in 4. Call this again. Do the exact same thing. but put in 4, 3, 2, and 1, and see if you get different amounts. 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you do this, and you run it, you should get a pyramid that goes down like this. Did you get that? See if you can make that appear. Sorry, my bad. Let's get back to this. Where was I? Okay, cool. Yeah, we built 5 rows. If you console out log this, it should look like that. We all see it? The problem is right here that we have to call this with a different number every time. First with 5, then with 4, then with 3, and we have to console out. We have to print out the row each time, then console out log it each time. There's a better way to do that. You ready? Here's how we go about it. Instead of calling the function 5 times, you just loop over the number of times, the height of the pyramid, and you start from however tall the pyramid is supposed to be, and you count down, looping each time, right? And that'll print it out like this. But what if we want to flip it? What if we want to start with 1? Then we can start counting up. So let me show you how we would implement that. Remember how we said that the variable height should be 5? Let's take that variable down here, and let's reuse it inside a loop. Are you ready? We're going to set the height to 5, and we're going to create another loop down here. 4. I'm going to say let I equal 1. And as long as I is less than or equal to 5, I plus plus, which means add 1 to I each time. So we're going to start with 1. Then we're going to check to see if it's less than 5. If it is, then we add 1 to it. It becomes 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. And as soon as it is no longer less than or equal to 5, this loop stops running. And so for each time we run this, we're going to say console or let row, or actually we can just say console.log build pyramid row with I. And then we don't need to do all of this other stuff because we're calling the function right here. And what this will do is it will start at a number and it will pass in I, however many hashtags is supposed to be on that row. So if we run this again, we should get the same thing. But upside down, and we do. So now we have the pyramid facing in the right direction, but in the reverse order. Does everyone see what we've done so far? We've created a variable to say how tall it is. And by the way, if you change height, oh sorry, this should be as long as I is less than or equal to the height. And if we change height to 4, you should get a pyramid of size 4. Let's see if that works. Pyramid of size 4. So the algorithm is now changeable. Pyramid of size 3. Let's see if that works. Cool. And so we can get pyramids of different heights just by changing this height variable here. And that makes our job much easier. Now we get a pyramid of size 10, 9. The idea is that you want your algorithm to be flexible, but still do exactly what you want, but still be very accurate. But right now we're going to keep it at 5. So it should look like this. Now in this last video, I'm going to show you how to make the pyramid build up, have a space, and then build down, so that our algorithm does exactly what it needs to do to get this correct. Are you ready? Does anybody need me to go over any part of the code before we move on? Want me to stop for a second? Explain something? Cool, let's do it.